All right, so we got some stuff to talk about this week. The first is the big announcement this week. As soon as Nintendo opened up their pre-orders, well, at least announced the time that the pre-orders would be open for their Switch OLED model. In that interim space, Valve decided to announce their new product, the Steam Deck. Not to be confused with the popular Elgato product, Stream Deck. This is the Steam Deck because that's not going to cause any confusion whatsoever. Um, I just kind of thought it was funny. It's like, hey, go pre-order this $340 thing, or you can buy this nice shiny $399 thing. So this is Valve's Steam Deck. Um, it's really an interesting look. It looks like the Wii U tablet from a few years ago. I'm not sure if anybody had one of those. I know it wasn't very well sold, but this kind of takes a lot of hits off of that, or like a lot of um, notes from that. It looks kind of ergonomical. The button spacing is a concern for me on that thumbstick there, but uh, I don't know. They allow you to remap the buttons on the back, so maybe like the Elite controller, you can just assign your face buttons to that, and it'd be fine. I am a little leery about having thumbsticks inside and built into a $400 device. That's why like the Switch is really nice because if a thumbstick breaks, then you just replace the Joy-Con. You don't have to send in the whole machine for a replacement. So that's always going to be kind of a concern for something like this. But other than that, it looks flashy. It looks nice. I'm very excited about this. And as somebody who would very much want a portable way to play my Steam games, this is definitely a welcome thought. So pricing's a little odd, as per usual. It seems like we get more storage for a lot more money as these goes up. That seems to be the way of the world here. But every model does have a micro SD card. What I'm mostly interested in finding out about this is apparently both or all three have an M.2 slot, but the 64 gig model has what's called eMMC memory, which is a flash memory that is usually soldered to the board. So theoretically, that M.2 slot should be open. So if you could bust the machine open and place your own M.2 in, will you have this 64 operational plus additional M.2 storage both? And then the SD card slot. Because if that's the case, your model to go to would probably be the $399 model. Because you're going to be able to get that. It's going to be a little bit more expensive than the typical, because it's a 30 mil M.2 slot instead of an 80, which is like it's not the standard, but it's the most common use for PCs. So I'm thinking that we would be able to have the 64 and whatever, 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, whatever you shell out for that. So like a 1 terabyte would be, about $100. So the difference between the 400 and the 430 is 130. So you could get 1 terabyte more rather than just, the 100 and change that you get, almost 200 more you get for $130 more. So that would be the most ergonomical value. But I myself reserve the $530 one because I don't know. That's an unknown quantity if you're going to be able to actually get in there and put an M.2 in. They said that it's not supposed to be end user upgradable, and I don't know. I want to void my warranty off the head in order to put an M.2 in it, because I don't know how good those thumbsticks are, if they're going to break, if the buttons are going to break, if something's going to happen with it. So I wasn't willing to bust open the machine and break the warranty in order to get more storage that way yet. In the future, absolutely, once the warranty's gone. But, yeah, I mean, it looks great. You're not going to be able to play everything on max settings, but I mean, who really needs that in a portable device? The battery is going to be, 2 to 8 hours, I think they said, which is kind of meh, but I'm not going to be using it anywhere for 2 hours myself. I don't have like long train rides or anything for commutes to go on. So looks good. And they're going to sell docks separately, which I have a USB-C dock, so hopefully that kind of works too. But yeah, cool little device, and I think the stealth drop with in between the announcement and the time pre-orders open for the Switch OLED was probably very pointed on their part. So that's kind of cool. I like that. Now we're gonna go over. So the other thing that happened this week, I finally got my hand on a 30 series GPU. So I've been kind of playing more PC games, just kind of downloading, things that I have on Game Pass and whatnot and checking those out, trying to max them out and everything. One of the things I checked out was Sea of Thieves, and that game seems to have been had a bunch of different things added over the years, so that's pretty cool. I'm probably gonna end up playing more of that. No Man's Sky, with a higher refresh frame rate than what I played on the consoles. That thing runs pretty smooth, pretty nice. It looks great. And Microsoft Flight Simulator. Okay. Okay, this game is insane. With a 5950X, this 3080 Ti, and 32 gigs of RAM, this thing was not running very well. Holy moly. Yeah, I mean, at 4K ultra settings, let's just say. I mean, I was getting barely over 60. Most games I would get, 100 to 120 at 4K ultra. But this was like a very non-stable frame rate. I think it's actually a RAM problem. I think I need more RAM. They say the recommended specs for RAM is 32 gigs, and that's good just because it's like loading, like it's rendering an entire world. So, well, not at once, but the draw distances and things, you need a lot of RAM to run this game. So I think that's really the issue, and not necessarily a lot of the hardware per se, the other hardware, but it's pretty good. Yeah, I don't plan on playing that game very much. I don't have a flight stick or anything, so using a controller and a keyboard is not ideal for that kind of game. It's a flight sim, come on. But this experience going through and playing a bunch of the different games on Game Pass did remind me why I did not play much Game Pass on PC in the past. And it's not that Game Pass is bad, because Game Pass is very good quantity of games, but that app on the Windows Store is just terrible. I'm looking forward to Windows 11 just because this is going to be integrated in. So, okay, let me explain. When I would go to download a game, it would get stuck on a download queue. And I discovered the way to get that done and get past that. It would just get queued and not do anything. And the way to get past that is to actually sign out of your Microsoft account, restart the computer, sign back into your Microsoft account, and resume the download. And sometimes that works and sometimes it does not. And for no reason, it just seems to get hung up. And yes, I'm installing on the C drive because it doesn't like anything else to be installed anywhere else. So it's kind of been a little bit of a like a hectic. I spent a good 2 days last week messing around with it. I actually released one less video on the YouTube channel than I normally do because just messing around with that. I downloaded The Witcher 3. It looks good. 6-year-old game looking that good was pretty impressive. So, I mean, I still need to finish Witcher 1, so I don't know. I played Witcher 3 a long time ago. Didn't really want to do the keyboard and mouse thing with Witcher 1, and I still don't really want to do it, but I guess if I'm ever going to play that game, I'm going to have to. Okay, what else? I'd like to look at Cyberpunk on this hardware, but, like, I don't want to pay again for that game. And the only reason I bought it before is because it came, if you pre-ordered Cyberpunk, you got a Google Stadia like package with the Chrome Ultra and the controller for free. So in my eyes, I just got that for $60. But so I've played it on Stadia, but I want to see how it runs natively on this hardware. I just really need it to be like $20, maybe. Anyway, Warzone, downloaded that. That game is so poorly optimized. It's like I was pulling like 4K on a 4K ultra settings. The frame rate's very inconsistent. I get like 120 to 100 to 120 4K with DLSS off. And it's very inconsistent. But then I was like, okay, so I'm probably just overloading my machine a little bit. So I turned it down to 1440p, and it still gets the same frame rate. I don't understand what it is about. Like, me and my buddy troubleshooted this. We got a friend that's trying to, stream, and he wants it at about 120, 144, somewhere in there, and he can't get it on a 3070 Ryzen 7 3rd gen or 3000 series Ryzen 7, and that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, and he's like running on low settings, so I don't know. If anybody knows why if there's a fix, just let me know in the comments. Like, if you know why. I mean, I've looked and see. I'm not running on PCI 4.0, so that's not a problem for me. But yeah, if you guys know anything, because there's people pulling 240 frames and stuff, and I just don't know what. I don't know what I'm doing wrong with it. But yeah, that's it. I checked out Red Dead Redemption 2. It looks amazing on the settings that it defaulted to when I downloaded the game. And I wanted to see, just fine-tune, tailor them to what I wanted them to be. And I don't know why. I don't know what's happening. But every time I change a setting, it restarts my entire computer. Not going to desktop. I mean, it restarts the entire computer. I don't know why. So I kind of fiddled with it a while. Couldn't really figure anything out. It kept saying, like, in the error logs, it said that it looked like I was running Windows 7, which is not true. So that was a weird thing. It was saying that there's like driver problems and stuff, but I have all the latest drivers. So I don't know. I ended up refunding it on Steam, and I'll probably just play it on the PlayStation. I tried to play it on the PlayStation when it first came out. I got probably about 8 hours into it. I don't know. The game's just... I understand it's probably a really excellent, really, like, moving and powerful game. There's just a couple things that, I don't know, the slow pace. I know it's intentional. It's supposed to make you feel like in the world, get you in that way of life, because, like, today's world, we're so, like, go, go, go. We just Leroy Jenkins everything, and this is meant to kind of set you back. But it takes you too long to do anything. Like... I appreciate the art, don't get me wrong, but when we're talking about like 100-hour game or whatever, if you just took all the extra time lengthening, slowing down parts, you could probably beat it in 40. That's a lot of extra opening drawers, pulling a can out, considering it. and putting it in your pocket. Um, I don't know. I'm not dogging the game. It's probably very excellent. And what I played of it, it was really good. It's just I just the pace is not something I was into at the time. So maybe now I will be. Um, but yeah, that's been my week. If you have any ideas on how to fix that hardware stuff or anything you've known, I mean, I've done Google searches and stuff, but I don't know. Just leave me a comment and let me know if you have any ideas. But yeah. Hey, but thanks for listening to me ramble about everything. I appreciate it. I want to do these more often. I want to do, just updates on how things are going, my thoughts on things. So that's what you guys are getting. I appreciate you sticking around. Thanks.